Hello, hello everyone. Hello. I am coming in today with, just wishing I could raise one of my other cameras. That works. Right. Coming in today because, and notice, I'm a little glittery. And ladies, if you've got nothing glittery, you can always get your little jingle bell. Ha, easy for me to say, huh? See, check it out. The little simple jingle bell. It has sparkle all over it. Put that on. You can never have enough. No, that's never mind. And then, you know, I'm not going to remember how to turn these on. Oh. Look at it. Sparkle and shine. See? It's all so simple. You don't have to make it into a sparkle box that you don't have. So today I am coming in to, and I am dressed in purple. Yes, I am. Purple sparkle, courtesy of Curvy Sense. Thank you, Curvy Sense, for my jumpsuit. I am coming in with this jumpsuit, and I have to say that the belt is all sparkle itself in the front. And this is just a find that I found at Ross one day, because you know that I love a good find. So I am here today all glittery because I am glittering for lipedema. That's what we're doing today all around the world. We are glittering for lipedema. And why are we glittering for lipedema? Because we are raising awareness. We are raising awareness. So what I want you all to do who see this is I want you to share this video. I want you to share this video because we need to get this word out there about lipedema. I learned this week that the number of women, I knew this part, the number of women that have lipedema in the United States is 1 in 9 at this time that we know of. There's way more, like way more, but that's all the people that don't know anything about it. So right now we know of 1 in 9 women have lipedema. That's 11% of women. But quite honestly, those are like nobody knows about it. You go to a doctor, the doctor doesn't know about it. Typically, women come into the doctor's office. They usually go to their general practitioner, which often doesn't help much. Because they don't know anything about it. And there are specialists, but they're few and far between. In my estimation, in the United States, people are not going to like me with this number, but I'm going to say that there are probably 25 physicians in the United States who actually are actively involved in anything related to lipedema that anybody knows about. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that number. And then practitioners, researchers, I mean, maybe there's the same number of those, but yeah, we need a lot more education, and we need a lot more awareness, and we really need the help of the public to bring this lipedema term to the forefront and to awareness of everyone. We need to have lipedema as a household name, just as breast cancer that affects women primarily, and also diabetes, which affects men and women. Our numbers are actually quite similar to those diseases, yet those are household words. So we need a lot more research, which thank God in the past 3 years, we have been gaining so much more research and so many more advances. But we still don't have a cure. We still don't have a diagnostic protocol that everybody can use, or a diagnostic device, I guess we'd say. We do have some diagnostic codes, but depending on how you look at them, those need to be evolved as well. So there's so much work to do, and I'm very encouraged that Biden has recently signed a bill into women's health initiatives. I'm very thankful for that, and I'm hoping that we will be able to take advantage of those going forward. So what is lipedema? I'm going to give you the down and dirty, non-clinical, what can high overarching, no minutia of what a layperson would look for in lipedema. So lipedema primarily affects women-born people assigned female at birth, okay? It typically expresses itself at puberty, pregnancy, or menopause. So these are times of great hormonal change. We think that there's some hormonal component. It can be expressed at times of trauma, like surgical trauma or injury. And so that is another time that it can happen. In my personal case, I am one who has congenital, meaning I had it from birth for sure. Mine probably really expressed itself about when I was 6, I'd say. And then not until, Firestorm, when I went through personal trauma, and then I just really gained a tremendous amount of weight. So there are some hallmarks that I think you should know about. So typically it affects bodies from the waist down, and in more than 50% of cases in the upper arms. Sometimes you'll see it expressed all the way to the wrist, and it usually does not affect the hands nor the feet unless lymphedema is also involved. So these are two separate things. There is likely a lymphatic component of lipedema as well, and from my personal lay person's terms or understanding, I kind of believe, how could the lymphatics not be impacted when it has all of this diseased fat kind of pushing and strangling on it? So what happens is there's an additional layer accumulated of adipose tissue, like I said, from the waist down typically, and it expresses itself in kind of classic cases like myself, where there's the upper torso is normal size, and then that creates a major disproportion in the lower half, and it creates the protruding hips and buttocks, and then also the thick thighs. And one of the main hallmarks, which I've always had, is the knee, the extended knee on the interior of your legs. And then there's often the extra layer above the actual kneecaps, and then on the left bottom below the kneecap is often kind of like a little bump out that happens most often on the left side. So those are kind of hallmarks. Then there is typically some type of heaviness that is felt. So I know that when I was a kid, I was 8 years old going to Girl Scout camp, and there was no way that I was getting in a canoe, because I knew that if I just put my leg in the canoe would was gonna just collapse. And that wasn't true, but evidently, inherently, I knew that my leg felt heavy, right? And I was, as a child, I was a dancer from 1st grade through 12th grade. I was a twirler, so I used my arms. I was in the kick line, so I was like the Rockettes. So I was constant, and I was also a roller skater. So I was constantly using my lower half, yet my body never looked like all the activity that I was participating in. So typically the additional layer also obscures your musculature that someone else's body would, you would see those definitions. For me, the only definition I've ever seen is in my abdomen, and I've been able to, kind of see, 6-pack abs at various times in my life, but that is because there's not much lipedema there. So it makes perfect sense, right? There's also, typically, there's bruising. So I can show you, this is an unusual place for a bruise, but I had a procedure earlier this week, and I have bruising on my hand, which I don't have lipedema there, obviously, but I'm just using that for effect. I don't know that I have any bruise. Oh, I had some for the IV here, but this has kind of gone away a bit. But typically you'll see more bruising. And then also there are little nodules under the skin. So in my, I don't know if you can see it because this is, it feels like if you touch my arms, and now you have to remember, in my case, I used to weigh 404 pounds, and so I am I don't know, around 150 pounds less than that right now. I have been much smaller than this as well. So my skin has a lot of excess skin, and now it has some lipedema and fat in here, but it feels like a bag of pearls. That's what you feel like. Or if you feel here, it feels like I have a bunch of lentils under my skin. And then with the appearance of, for me at least, from the hips down to the knees, it is looks like a lot of cellulite. And I like to joke and say, I really don't have any cellulite now that I know lipedema, that it's all the fascia that's so wavy and is impacted by this diseased tissue that's under there, plus all these little nodules. So if you think about like a styrofoam beanbag or a beanbag and all those little tiny styrofoams, and if you put that all under your skin, only make it that it's really beans, because styrofoam probably wouldn't hurt that much, but beans packed in under your skin on top of your muscles, and then you're going to touch it. Well, all of that together, that hurts because it's all the pressure, right? And then if you so when people, oftentimes one of the things that actually hurts women the most is like their cat or their dog, just because those little paws are just pressing all on top of like all of those little those little nodules that are just going against each other. So it's easy to understand why it hurts, right? And then in between all of that, there's some excess fluid that is what makes it heavier, and then aids in the making it like uncomfortable to the touch. So some people can't even could never have somebody do that. But my body is not that, it's not that tender. Or some people can't have massages because that really affects them. That hasn't been my experience, although I have to say, recently when I've been so inflamed, I have had much more of that, tenderness to the touch. So I know that I'm leaving out a million things. And these for me are kind of the highlights. These are the things that really kind of give you an indication. It is typically difficult to lose the lipedema itself. So it was not difficult for me to lose 230 pounds because I had excess regular fat in my body, and that's what went away. What I was left with was a shell that really was simply lipedema. And so the shape, which is often what many women are constantly in the gym or they're constantly on a diet trying to fight this shape, is probably not going to leave unless there is some type of removal of the lipedema. And at this time, we don't have any cures for lipedema, but one of the non-conservative treatments is to have a particular surgical removal of the lipedema tissue itself. And that typically has to happen in quite a number of procedures. So I mentioned that I am the classic shape, but then there is also another phenotype, which is where you see the columnar legs. So where it's somebody whose leg just goes straight down and often will result in a cuff around the ankle. So that's what, we may have called, I'm Italian, so I can say this, like Italian grandmothers who had a cankle. They didn't have a cankle, they had lipedema. And so it kind of looks like just a thicker circumference around the ankle, but yet the foot, again, is normal. It doesn't have that same situation. And this, starts from a stage 1, which is just a young girl who's just like all the other girls, but she has a little bit more circumference to her leg. She, it may be a little harder for her to run, or she may not be as fast simply because she's lugging all of this extra around, even though it's not really appearing so that way. Or it may be difficult for her to buy a shoe that has an ankle strap because maybe it doesn't fit, doesn't go in the, it doesn't button properly. Or her socks are tight. So these are some things that you could think about. And then as you get to the higher stages, like where I likely was when I was at my highest, then you're getting much more swelling, although quite frankly for me, I never did have any type of pitting edema or anything like that, regardless of the size that I was. But I was also 20 years younger when I went on my weight loss journey. And I was not at that weight for very long. So there's a difference there. So those are the hallmarks that I can share with you. What I'm hoping, if you forward this along, is that you people will hear about this and they will say, oh, I know my friend or my neighbor or my aunt or my teacher. And maybe you could forward this on to them and say, have you ever heard of this? Because it's a kind of a balance that sometimes people don't know anything about it. And people have typically, it's undiagnosed or misdiagnosed more often as obesity or overweight for decades. That's typically what happens. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that we get to people earlier so that they don't have this lifetime of struggles with their body. There are conservative treatments that do help, and they're the easiest things to implement like immediately. So there is nutrition and movement are the two biggest key components. And you need to eat a non-inflammatory nutritional program for you. So like if you've been around, you may have heard that I was just diagnosed with 26 food allergies. And these were foods that I thought were doing my body good as part of a non-inflammatory non-inflammatory process. I did certainly have some things included over the past few years that I knew were inflammatory to me, and were different, including them for me. But so those are the two things. And movement, anything that is going to pump your calves, that is the first thing, because we need to do anything that helps us move our lymphatics. So pumping the calves is the simplest thing. And then any type of movement of the muscles. So weightlifting at normal weights and normal motions is really what helps us move our lymphatics. So those are the two biggest things. Water, any type of movement in water is amazing for our bodies. And anytime you're in the water for an hour, that is the equivalent of wearing medical grade compression for 24 hours, so long as it's like 3 feet or more. There is also medical grade compression, which you see me, if you've been here, you see me wearing that on a daily basis. It basically makes sure that the compression is going up, so that all of the lymphatic fluid can be pushed up and get to where it needs to be. And oftentimes, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but there are women who have lipedema who also have venous insufficiency, and so wearing compression also helps with that. Dry brushing, I'm unprepared. I didn't think about this till now. Dry brushing is something that's very helpful. Vibration plating, rebounding, red light therapy, Epsom salt baths. What am I missing? Like a million things, I know. These are some of the things that are in my toolbox, and we all need to have these in our toolbox. And quite frankly, even if you don't have lipedema, these are all good things for you to have in your toolbox as well. Oh, my latest tool. Just happen to have it on my counter. My latest tool is this massager. Manual lymphatic drainage. Holy cow, I didn't miss that, saying that. That is exceptionally helpful. Woo! I don't know what this is going to do to my outfit. I can't love this thing enough. So anything that is going to help move your lymphatics, and also anything that will help break down the fibrosis. So, gua sha or A-stim, where you're using a tool that will, basically be doing, some people use cupping. It just depends what you can tolerate. So these are some of the highlights. I'd be happy to speak with any of you if you have questions. So be sure that you can look in my bio to go through there for, I think there's 15-minute discovery calls available that I can help guide you in the right direction. If you're a woman with lipedema who's already diagnosed and they're like, what can I possibly do? Then I can also help you, and we can start with one of those calls, but I do have mentoring sessions as well. And I want to close in saying that although we do have this disease, that doesn't mean that we can't participate in life. And we have to get it out of our heads that somehow this makes us different and should hold us back from participating in things. And even insofar as looking our best, I believe that we should look our best at any size, at any age, at any shape, because there's no reason why we can't. And if you're going to give me the financial, well, I don't have the finances to look good. Well, I'm going to dispute that, because I am all about finding things at the most affordable prices, and also that, we really as a planet need to look at, upcycling or recycling. And so there's that kind of thing as well. And I know there are a lot of options out there for that too. So regardless of where you're at in your journey. So anyway, that's what I have to say about lipedema. I hope this brought some insights for you. And I just want to encourage you to get your glitter on. Be sure to be putting that best foot forward, and be sure to glitter wherever you go. And it's okay to glitter all day long. Just saying. Bye for now. Thank you for joining, and I'll look forward to any questions. I'm going to take a minute because I now realize that the comments will be gone, and I just want to make sure if there's anybody that had an actual relevant question. Send me an email if you have some I'm not sure what type of tips. Send an email if you have some ways in which you'd like to collaborate. I think it was too long for me to go back. Are there any? Oh, you know what? I do believe that there is one on Facebook, so look that up. There is a group on Facebook. Yes, my particular shape is the classic shape, and it is a pear shape. Correct. It should, the lipedema itself should not cause any health concerns. Actually, if typically lipedema women often have the healthiest numbers. I know that I myself go to the doctor and they ask, like, if they could only have my my blood test results or that type of thing be so I do want to address one thing, because clearly across my platform, lipedema, because I try to put my best foot forward and I try to be conscious of how I look, and I think that we have all learned that there is an aesthetic that is pleasing to some that lipedema provides. And there certainly have been women who have gone for BBLs and they have had hip implants, and I have seen them out in the streets in LA, and I look at them like, why did you do that? But okay, to each his own. And so we know that that is, it is true, it is a fact that there are people who find this shape to be very pleasant. And there are, we can go back in time and we can look at Venus in art, and we can look at the Renaissance period, and we can see that women were considered goddesses who had this type of, we can look back in architectural finds and see this. And so there isn't anything to dispute that, I don't think. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder, to each his own. I think you may have seen, if you're on my pages, you may have seen the other day the advertisement of a pear, and it says you should not have this shape. It was a 1960s ad for bras and girdles. And so there has been a whole generations brought up with that thought, because this is what the media told them, and this is bad, and God forbid you should look like this. And so for me, I have not ever disliked my shape, actually. I just wanted my legs to be smaller, and I still do. There's no question about it. I would like to be able to walk without having my gait impaired by my knees. And that's the stage that I'm at. I don't even have to worry about my thighs rubbing anymore, because my knees get there first. And that is a lot of impairment that it causes on my knees and ultimately on my hips. So for me, I now am at the volume is too much for my body to handle, and so it needs to be reduced in some way. And so that's going to be my plan over the next 2 years, I guess, as I implement all of this allergy stuff and find ways for my body to work correctly. But that being said, it doesn't matter if this body type is acceptable. That's irrelevant. That's completely irrelevant. I'm not here for anybody's body acceptance except my own, and I've already made it into body acceptance, right? I'm encouraging others to consider accepting their bodies because it's the only body that we have, right? And I also am wanting to let you know that if you're here because you think that this is visually appealing, well, that's on you. That has nothing to do with me, and that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here serving that that purpose. I've said this from day one. You know, whether you find an outfit that I wear is visually appealing, that's your interpretation, and that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to educate and to create awareness around this disease and to show women that there are other women that look like them and that they too can thrive, and they're gonna have ups and downs just like we all do in life. And but you can still proceed, you can still move on, and you can still never give up. And that's what I'm here for. So again, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Please be sure to forward, because we really need to get the word out there, and I'm counting on you to help us spread awareness. Bye for now. See ya.